Welcome to the Kpopcast. I am DJ Peter Lowe, and I'm joined by Stephanie.
Hey, happy to be here. Happy Friday.
I'm welcoming Angélica from the Ask Me About Kpop podcast. Welcome,
Hello.
Angélica.
Thank you. So happy to be back. It's been a while.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my God, it's been like years since I think you've been on our podcast. So
Yes.
And let's not forget, PD Nim herself, Michaela, is here on the line.
Yes, hello everybody. I am so excited to talk about today's Daebak or not. Obviously, we're talking about Shia Junsu's Pitta Pat, right? That's what we're doing?
No.
Oh, she didn't get the memo, guys.
Wait, no?
No, it's Lee Tae-min.
Oh, okay.
You know.
I mean, we've been waiting 4 years for this comeback, but I guess since we covered part one, we can do Taemin this week.
Ooh. All right, so setting the tone.
Well, Peter, what are we talking about today?
Taemin's Idea, the comeback. Lenny, you know if this song is Daebak or not. Taemin's Idea. Give us a quick rundown on this song, Stephanie.
So, Idea, or Idea, as he says in the track, is the title song of Taemin's third full-length album, Never Gonna Dance Again, Act 2. Do you believe him? Because I don't believe him. He's going to keep dancing forever. Anyways,
Of course.
This follows the release of Criminal on September 7th, which was the title track of Never Gonna Dance Again Act 1. This particular song, Idea, is projected to be Taemin's last solo project before his military service. Cue tears, crying. But SHINee is also slated to make a comeback sometime in 2020, according to sources. I see fingers crossed. Angélica, do you know anything about this?
It's all that's holding my sanity together. Taemin promised at the beginning of the year that SHINee would be back by the end of 2020. That's all the confirmation that we have. And I'll take it.
Yeah,
We are heading
I can
into...
confirm, as of recording this, it will be 13 hours, 33 minutes, and 30 seconds until Minho is finally released from the military.
But who's counting?
The clock is ticking.
A lot of us are counting, okay?
I am updating every hour.
Cue
All right,
the chorus of angels.
Yo, here's hoping for a shiny Christmas.
Ooh, yes.
Please.
It's about time.
But is this chapter in Taemin's career notable or significant in any way from your perspective, Angélica?
Yes, absolutely. Taemin is such an interesting solo artist. He has such a distinct personality in all of his work. And if you look at his work from the beginning, when Criminal came out, I made my own retrospective and went back and watched all of his stuff from Danger. And the evolution is really there. You can just see the way that he grows as an artist. And the Act 1 and Act 2, I assume as well, he has put in so much of his own input into the choreography and the styling and the aesthetic of it all. And so I just think that this is a real piece for him.
So what's this song all about? PD Nim, take us away.
Yeah, well, going off the, what you just said, Angélica, about Taemin really putting in his own input, he also gave us his CEO professor lecture on V Live. Professor Taemin came out and explained that the main topic of Idea is the process of getting out of your former self in search of a new self. And specifically, this is relating back to a theory of forms by the Greek philosopher Plato.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
I don't know if you can see it, but I've got all these philosophy textbooks here in the back of behind me. Like, oh, for once, like, oh, let me speak up. This is relevant. Yes.
So can
Collecting
you
dust
speak
benefits.
to explaining that, Peter, or do you want me to?
No, go ahead. I'm actually still struggling. Having actually even read those texts, I'm still struggling to see the connection. So please explain, Michaela.
Yeah, well, I have not read as many texts as Peter, so I'm going to give a very condensed form of explanation. But the basic way we can explain the theory of forms is it's this idea of reaching for a theoretical perfection in reality. So you're trying to reach this utopia, this thing that, you know, doesn't necessarily exist, but you're trying to reflect that as much as possible in your reality. And if we want to get even nerdier, we can relate this to theoretical algebra, but I don't know if you guys are
I
interested.
think Aristotle also extended on those ideas a bit as well. But I think this is epitomized in Plato's Republic, which was like, okay, what is justice and what is the just man? What does the just city look like? What does the just ideal look like in practice? And then trying to mirror that in your behavior, who you are as a person. So I wonder, are we seeing that same sort of connection, extrapolation between the ideas of the forms and in Taemin's music and comebacks and concepts?
Ooh, I don't know. That's an interesting idea. I never really thought about it that way. But I did hear a lot about the Plato's the forms and like the shadows on the cave, right? What is that?
Allegory of the cave,
thing?
yeah.
Yes, because he was doing the teaser images that were like his past selves, right? Like he did he put on like a distressed version of his everybody costume, and I think he had like some photo shoot that was like reminiscent of danger and stuff like that. So he was like definitely calling back to sort of look at all of his career up to this point. And I know that was a big thing of the first act too, because he had the image of the viewfinder was like the motif of the album itself, of like, you know, those old timey little like things that you like look at different pictures. So it was like a reflection of looking at different parts of his career up to this point. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know that much about philosophy.
Well, the allegory of the cave, which is like a small part in the Republic, which I think I've got. Oh my gosh.
Oh no. He's
Pause
really
for,
busting out the textbooks here.
Yeah, pause for library investigation.
Which I have right here. Actually talks about the point of that allegory of the cave was, if you have these people who are only looking at shadows on the wall, that is their reality. Like if they're you know, born and birthed and bred to consume that world, they know no different, and they assume that those shadows are the real things in themselves. But what is actually true are the people passing by behind them, creating those shadows on the wall. And if in Plato, through Socrates and in the Republic, explains that, well, if you were to take someone, you know, chained in that cave and bring him out into the light, would they accept the reality? You know, it would be hard, it'd be blinding to see the light in the world. So, by the way, like the applications of this to our current political climate, that aside, like I wonder, is Taemin trying to say something? Like, could these shadows of his former concepts and images be something he's trying to say about what is really him? What is the real Taemin, or the real artist that he's trying to become, versus all the things that we've known to date?
I think that could be a really fair assessment. I mean, especially if you think about like his lyrics and his concept as sort of a reflection of his own personal journey. Like maybe too, it's also about him him coming out of the cave, right? And like realizing through his career and through like all these different concepts he's been able to try and things that maybe he's been forced to do that he didn't really have a say in, and now like growing into being this artist of his own who is so well respected and like such a great, like such an icon of the music industry right now. Maybe it's about him like accepting a new reality or seeing the shadows for shadows on the wall, and now like coming into this light and this new reality, which would like, once we start talking about the aesthetic, we can definitely connect that to like the visuals in the music video, I think, too.
Yeah, and I think we can specifically connect that to the lyrics. In the second verse, the last line, the translation is, "At the moment when I've become to trust everything invisible, I throw myself into the ideal." So he's throwing himself into this new, better version of himself, which is not a shadow, which is not things that are fake.
Yeah, throwing himself toward the new reality. Oh, so beautiful.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing is in, I believe it's the third verse. It's like the last few lines of the whole song, and it translates into, "This thrill deep in my heart, you are my Messiah. On the night I cut you from my heart, finally I opened my eyes." So again, going back to this thing of this idea of transforming, removing this thing that is less than ideal and becoming something that is your idea, your ideal. And specifically, he says opening his eyes. So that can go back to the thing that you were mentioning, Peter, about, opening your eyes to what is actually real, right? Or
like seeing the truth.
Yeah, I mean the point that I think Socrates and Plato were trying to get across in the Republic, we're trying to say that the person would not accept the reality if all they had known is different, or if they did, it would be through great pain. And maybe that's what TAEMIN is going through here, to come around. And Angélica, I think you had a comment on the concept itself.
Yeah, well, the visuals of the music video are so stunning. He always has such incredible music videos, I think. He does like a really great... He loves a very cinematic music video, right?
Yes.
Criminal, I thought, was like unbelievable. I thought it was so good. And the aesthetics of this one are really beautiful, but it does really match that idea of like coming out of a cave and into the light. But it also juxtaposed a lot of like heaven and hell kind of imagery, because especially when they were doing like the teaser images and stuff, they had laid it out so that it looked like he had this sort of dark version and it was all in black. And then it like slowly faded to light blue and white, and then had him like up at the top wearing like a very light colored thing. So yeah, it's interesting to connect the idea of like coming out of the cave into seeing this like new lighter reality, and like, do you accept it with the like image and the sort of color scheme that he uses in his music video too.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the animated GIFs that we have here at our outline. Thank you, PD Nam. I could see that. So again, being in the cave or seeing the shadows illustrated by a flame, being okay, this is the false world that we thought we knew that was real, and then coming into the light, coming into the outside settings that we have him dancing in. Realizing the truth, realizing the world as it is in itself. So, yeah, I can get behind this concept. I'm slowly coming around to it. I'm slowly hearing it and seeing it. What did you guys think of the dancing of this song?
I mean, impeccable as always. What do you mean? What did I think of the dancing? I loved it.
What kind of question?
I think, with TAEMIN, there is a certain high bar for
yes,
a higher bar than most, if not all, frankly, when it comes to executing on very sophisticated, technically difficult choreography, and doing that as a soloist. And he delivers. What I was asking myself when I was watching the choreography was, how is this different now than everything that we've seen to date in the way he's able to perform his dance? And I think I'm getting harder to impress just because, like, yes, it's well done, but what does it mean? What is it telling me? And that's what I'm looking for in the dancing itself.
I will say that, like, at least in comparison to Criminal, right? Because this is sort of like a paired set with Criminal. I do think that the general choreography and that the song Criminal is like more striking. And I think it stands out in a different way, not just because the dancers do it like half blind, but it just like is visually, I think, really stunning in a way that this one is maybe not as striking visually. It just kind of is a really good Taemin choreography. Like it's definitely not rewriting, or reinventing the wheel in any kind of way, I think. But it is in that sense that like Taemin is always impeccable. It is, of course, like very good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When I was watching the different live performances, I thought it might actually look better if you had fewer dancers on stage with him, just because it gets just a little lost on a couple of the camera pans where there's just too many people on that stage at the same time, because he's the main star here.
Yes.
Not to undersell all the other performers on that stage, but it's like, who are you really supposed to be paying attention to? And I think the concepts and the movement could have been seen with about half as many dancers.
I agree. And in Criminal, he had, I think, like 7, right? He has like 3 girls and 4 boys and just like sticks with that little crew. And I think with that, or maybe he just has 6. I don't know, whatever. He has a smaller group than he did in this one. And I agree with you that sometimes I thought it almost felt like the formations were not as striking because there were so many people that I like almost couldn't see all of the shapes for what they were because there were so many people. But he does some things in the choreography that I really love. I'm just thinking of it because it's like in a GIF right here in the Google Doc. But this part where he's wearing the white crop top and they're like going in the line and they all like pose behind him as they move. I love that. 17 does that in their home run and it's amazing. I love that stuff.
And that's another thing where it's like he cuts across and it's like the first like 2 rows of people have already done the poses. And then because there are so many more people, you have all these people in the back mirroring the poses again, but you can barely see them like doing it.
Yes, that's true.
It's for effect. You're not meant to see everyone at once, but still, it can be a little overwhelming. That is all to say that this is a crew that can only be executed with Taemin. Like, could you imagine any other K-pop performer trying to pull this off? I think they would struggle. I think it would be much more of a challenge for it to look as clean as it did with Taemin. And frankly, if there's the one standout performer or star in all of this, it's the execution of the dance by both the dancers and Taemin. There is just things even where it's like you have one movement and then one segment of the team does it, and then you have the trickle down of other dancers doing that same movement, like in a sort of cascading effect. That could look very bad very easily. And having the technical proficiency of the dancers that we have here, like that's what keeps me coming back to this song. Frankly, it's just watching the dance performances of this track, and I so wish we could have more K-pop cover groups this COVID-19 age doing this, because that would have been a really fun thing to see.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love the part where they are like squatting down in the main like part. That choreography is great, and they're like zooming around their little legs. I love it.
So the music itself, guys, y'all, what do you think?
This was not the sound I was expecting from Taemin. It really wasn't. When the beat
completely
dropped,
co-sign that.
And like when I first watched the music video and the beat dropped, my jaw was on the floor. I was like, what is happening right now? But after listening to it a couple of times, it's a weird song that It does.
Very experimental.
Yeah, it's very experimental, more so than his more recent stuff has been. I feel like his Japanese discography is usually a little bit more wilder, and like his Korean discography is like very like emotional and verbose. But it did kind of remind me of some of John Young's B-sides. So it seemed like one of those weird songs that like would have been John Young's taste. And I actually read recently that there was when John Young had his radio show called Blue Night, TAEMIN came on it once, and the two of them talked about naming a song Idea and playing with the pronunciation of idea and separating it to idea and playing with the sound of dia and the way that you say it. And John Young was like, you could make a pun with like the word deer. And so they were sort of going back and forth with like how to play with the word. And so then the fact that he did actually name this song that, and that it also aligns with some of John Young's more musical sensibilities, I was like, I think it felt purposeful to me. It was not where I thought it would go, but it felt purposeful.
I completely agree with that, because if you look at the producer list, these are a lot of the same producers that have worked on John Young's music and SHINee's music and a lot of just amazing SM bops. Yeah. I think going back to the idea of like not knowing what to expect with this song, I had heard previously that it was produced by the same duo that made WAP. So I had absolutely no idea what to expect when I heard that.
By the way,
yes, sorry, WAP by Cardi B. So when I heard that, I had that song in my mind coming into this. So obviously, hearing what Idea actually was, it was completely 360 from.
But I would support a TAEMIN WAP. Like I would support. You know what I mean? Like if he came out with a new album that was just like, make it drop, I would. Okay, let's do it. Go ahead.
I mean, drip drop is like a toe in into the pool. I think he just needs to dive in.
That was a sexy album.
I can get behind that. I think that's something that frankly we're not seeing enough of in K-pop. Like we got like hints of that with Wonho, but like I think we can go like. Well, I'm trying to find a politically correct expression to say this, but like just go 100 on that thirst and
turn up the thought anthems.
Yes, yeah. Oh, I'm so for that, honestly. When I heard this song, like especially listening to the bass line and the strings, I thought to myself, this is what a headache sounds like. Or like a hangover, or a migraine, or thank you, Carson. I was kind of disappointed. Like I get like, if we're running with this concept of allegory of the cave, like yes, coming into the brightness, like seeing truth and knowledge for the first time hurts. But like I want to enjoy a good song. like I think they were trying to, like with the chorus, they were trying to create a very strong drop, and I just get distorted rumbles. It's not something that like I'm gonna get turned up to or lit, in a club sort of hard drop setting. This is just something like, ooh, this hurts. Maybe by design, maybe on purpose for the artistry, but like to me, it's less pleasant to listen to.
That's fair. It is a very dramatic drop. And I feel that way about one of the B-sides on the album. It's called Exclusive. And he has it starts out really melodic and then the chorus drops in kind of like that. And it feels very just distorted and like it kind of takes you out of it. Which is sort of true in this one. Like when the drop comes in, you're like, whoa, where did this come from? But I feel like it never bothered me. I feel like I've never heard a TAEMIN title track that I've disliked.
So that's good. That's why we got you here, Angélica.
That's true. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, but Bala on the save though. like on what is it in the chorus where she comes in on the super high pitched "Killing Me Softly." I'm not going to try singing it, but
Yes.
That's Boa.
yes.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, he explained that he wanted that part to be very like dark and eerie, and her voice just fitted perfectly.
It does.
Wow.
And it's a really good contrast, like the super high pitch and this like row rumble sort of sound. I just wish that like they could have visually brought Boa into the music video. Like even though like it's super small feature by Boa in the song, just for that chorus and I think maybe a couple of the ad libs. But I've seen YG do far more with far less. In terms of like featuring their artists. Like I'm thinking namely of Psy's Daddy, where CL was in it. Or even G-Dragon was in it. Like, I don't think G-Dragon had any lines. But, like, just having, that flair of another recognizable face, I think would have helped with the virality of this hit. Not that it needs any help. I think it's performing quite well but on the charts. But I think more people would have gotten behind it.
I think in general, SM doesn't, like you said, like they just don't take advantage of the fact that they have like 100 stars all together under the same roof. Like you could just so easily mix and match. I mean, I guess that's what the whole Super M thing was about, but whatever.
and the station, and they've been trying to do that a little bit with Station. But,
but it would have been
there
cool,
wasn't as many...
especially because Boa is such an iconic dancer, and so is Taemin, and Boa just had her 20th anniversary. Like it would be it would have been cool if they had a dance collaboration.
Yeah,
or if she'd been featured in the choreo.
Right. Like people would live just for that alone. Just that little snippet or segment. Oh man. Like now I'm imagining what could have been. Like I'm so sad. I mean, here's hoping that maybe we can get a future collaboration like that. Taemin, Boa dancing and singing together. Oh my God.
That would be so good. That would be so good. He could have done like Move and done different versions of the music video. Had one with Boa.
Yeah.
What could have been?
I mean, it is the 20th anniversary. I'll take like a 2020 version of Only One.
Ooh.
Like, I'll take that because they have done it before.
That's true. They have, for sure.
Yeah.
Every SM boy has done that with Boa at least once. It's a rule.
Rite of passage.
Exactly. Coming of age.
So one last comment for me on the song and the music itself. Just listening to the mastering of the song, and when I watched this music video, I went through the whole gambit of re-listening to all of Taemin's other title tracks and songs. And what I noticed listening to those other songs and then comparing it with Idea is that his voice doesn't cut through the music as much with Idea as it did with all the other hits that he's had to date. And it's almost like you're losing him. Like you're losing him to this wobble distortion sound. And it's like, it's almost as if there was meant to be another main vocal. And even when I'm listening to the verses and the pre-chorus with Taemin, it feels like he's just setting up his voice to harmonize with someone else. And like, it didn't capture the main melody, the main focus and just listening to the music itself, at least for me as I listen to it and comparing it with all his other hits. And Angélica's here to be like, you know what, Peter?
I don't know if I agree.
Yeah.
I think Taemin is a very interesting vocalist. I know that when they first debuted, he was, of course, really young, but he was criticized really heavily for not being a good singer. So he is like really grown a lot in his ability to sing at all, honestly. But yeah, I don't know. I did notice that just in general, the album, I don't know anything about music composition, so I feel like I can't speak to the like mixing and mastering of it. But I did notice that there were a lot of like additional layered vocals to this whole album in a way that there aren't usually. Like his voice does usually shine a lot brighter in it, like especially in the Move album in particular, like that is coming to mind really strongly for me. And there's so much, like there's one song, oh god, what is it called? There's one song on it on this album that has this like insane low voice that reminds me of the Timbaland Shock Value album. Like remember when Timbaland was like doing all those songs with Justin Timberlake, like, and then he would just like come on real like impressionable. Yes, it has that really low voice that just comes in impressionable. What on earth? Like, what's happening? But yeah, so I don't know if maybe he was just like having fun with a fancy new beat board or something, but he definitely added in a lot more than there usually is.
Okay, well. You listeners, you can let me know where I'm so wrong. I'm a grown up and an adult, and I can also have my mind changed. So you can also, listeners, let me know where I'm off. So let's hear what some of our listeners had to say about this song.
Listener Kazoo Girl or Kazoo Girl says, all of Taemin's projects this year have made my life 100% better. I love the dramatic string sample, and the MV is lush and dramatic, and his styling impeccable without being overwhelming.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, styling was great.
I also used the word impeccable, so I approve this post.
just everything about Taemin, impeccable. Every dimension, every lens that one can see. Yes.
I mean, the only criticism I have is he covers up his tattoo in the music video.
I thought that was so
let us see the tattoo,
funny.
Taemin. How can you wear a crop top and we can't see it?
Yeah, you're gonna wear a crop top and then specifically wear this like very obvious bandage. Like it's not subtle. And I get that it was probably, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it was for the aesthetic. Like maybe he filmed it without and was like, I don't like the way my tattoo looks. But when I just couldn't look away, and then when I watched the performance version of the music video that came out today, like his other dancers, like some of his female dancers they have tattoos, and like the male dancers have tattoos, and they didn't cover theirs. So it's like, why did you cover yours? I don't know. It's very distracting.
It might have been like a PR thing to prevent, like, you know how tattoos are in Korea. So
maybe.
Labels like, hey,
but true, but it's a music video.
You're absolutely
and they do
right.
like fake tattoos all the time in music videos. I can't, this is like a different conversation, but like I can't wrap my brain around the hypocrisy of the whole tattoo taboo. I just don't get it. I really don't.
Yeah, just be like Hyolyn, you know, just put like front and center in every music video. Anyway, listener Dina commented, the dancing stands out to me. I like the song too, especially the use of the string instruments. Taemin has been dropping lots of hits this season. I didn't vibe as well with the music video because I personally don't like the depictions of the devil. I'm not even sure if that was the intended imagery, but it came across to me as heaven and hell. The song is still good, so I consider it Daebak.
I also thought the imagery was heaven and hell.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to kind of bring maybe an alternative interpretation, like if you're going back to this thing of like he's becoming a different version of himself, like when you start a new chapter in your life, sometimes you gotta burn down. Like sometimes you gotta cut out the things that are holding you back from being a better person.
What I'm wondering right now is like, am I meant to, feel that pain as heard in the music and as seen in the music video? Like, am I really meant to feel that? Like, am I having the intended impression and feeling and experience of pain? Like, is that a feature of this, or is it that I just don't like?
Do you mean because this song causes you pain and you wonder if that's on purpose?
Right. Yeah. I mean, all of that, like, but also like visually, like, descent into madness, right? Like, and I'm thinking of Yoja Idol's "Oh My God," which is a similar, like, okay, here's like, sort of dark depiction and descent. I don't know. Anyway, should we just jump into our final scores?
Yeah, right. It's about that time, y'all. Time to give our final scores. We discussed the concept, the visuals, the audio. But is Taemin's idea or idea Daebak or not? Okay, Angélica, you're first.
Daebak, of course. 2 thumbs up. Is that how many points? 100 points. All of the
I know.
points.
Why did we even ask?
Daebak.
No, I would say, I mean, honestly, if I was going to, I don't know what the scale is here, but like, I feel like I would give it an A- or like if a 9 out of 10 or that kind of thing. Because I do, like I said, I thought Criminal in general was more striking as a title track, and I thought the album was more cohesive. But I do think that this is stunning and another feather in his cap.
Right. I have to agree with you. It is also Daebak for me for different reasons. Like, you know, when bringing back that comparison of Criminal, I do, you know, hold Criminal a little bit over this one if we are going to compare. But it's a solid A-. It's not anything less than that. Okay, Peter, what is your final ruling?
Make me the bad guy. You know, like Damon's complete discography today has been Daebak, but I think this is just an instance where the song itself makes me say not Daebak, it's Rumbles. It's hard to make it as memorable as his other stuff. I'm sorry, Damon. I look forward to more. I think you can push this concept further, but do it with a catchy or a hook. Center Boa more. I don't know.
Maybe would that have saved it for you if it sounded exactly the same but was a duet dance with Boa? Would that have saved it for you?
Possibly.
Okay, I'll let him know.
If Boa was, yeah, you'll let him know for me. Thank you, Angélica. I know you've got him on speed dial on your personal
Super
line.
M texts me every day. Don't worry.
well then, yeah. I think it's really the bass line that irritates me the most in this song. Okay, well, that's it for this episode of the Kpopcast. Signing off, let our listeners know where they can find you each online. So, Angélica, you're from the Ask Me About Kpop podcast. Is there anything else that you wanted to promote or share with our listeners?
Sure. You can find us. So Ask Me About Kpop. We're an educational guide for new fans and seasoned fans alike. And you can find us on anywhere you find podcasts. We're at AMA Kpop Pod on Twitter and Instagram. And we are in the middle of our Shine Book Club.
Yes.
Book club. Which our dear Peter was a guest on our first episode. And our next episode is going to come out on Wednesday. It will be Shine Fun and Games. So we're going to be playing some pretty goofy games with this very well-written book.
You didn't mean that ironically at all.
No, of course not.
You can find me on Twitter at Michaela J. Kpop.
And I'm at DJ Peter Lowe, and you can find all of us on Twitter at The Kpopcast.
If you want to get to know us better, come make some new friends in our official Kpopcast Slack. You can find the link in the description of this episode.
I just made it back, y'all. What did I miss?
All of it.
No! I saw in Taemin made a cute little choreo tutorial video with some of his SM juniors.
Yeah, that's the best part I love about his promotions for this album is he like partners with one of the NCT boys and they learn the choreo and you really get to see him like acting like a mentor, which is weird
and he's so cute.
Oh my gosh, seeing senior Taemin is like young Taemin. I don't even know what to do with it. It warms my heart, so it makes me so proud.
Like young, like Taemin.
I know.
Seriously, I think you know what. I think I agree with what y'all are saying about the I guess lack of artistic cohesion or like advanced highbrow storyline to the choreo, and that Criminal had more of that. I think the fact that we had like number one, at least 4 different top choreographers involved in making the routine, top like hip hop and popping strong choreographers. I think just like all probably tried to put in as many impressive execution kind of moves from their style into it. So you can kind of see different people's ideas in different parts of the song, right? Keone Madrid is in there. Bailey Sock is in there. 16-year-old prodigy at dance and popping hip hop dancer and choreographer. Ian Westwood choreographed Taemin's Danger. Yeah. So you can kind of see the Michael Jackson-like elements, and the more masculine, aggressive moves that are in the dance are probably from Ian Westwood. But then more smooth, like waving moves are probably from Bailey or from Keone or even Casper, who's the fourth person involved in the choreography. So I had so much fun with it, but I see what you're saying in terms of if they had only had one or two leads designing this, it could have had more cohesion.
Yeah, maybe it's like too many cooks in the kitchen or something.
And these are like master
that's a lot
chefs.
Of people. Yeah, exactly.
Master chefs in the kitchen. Like, come
exactly. on. Yeah, each one of them should have like their own song, not all be lumped into just one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But as long as the body rolls are still there.
Yes.
Did you see that Taemin is on TikTok now?
What?
He's on TikTok now, and he did a there's of course a little TikTok version of his dance or whatever, but then they also used one of those the filter that makes you have a lot of you. Yeah. And so he did that one, but like doing the body rolls, all of it, and he looks like a little it looks animated. He's just like such a little like snake slithering around. Yep. It's so crazy. And then there's 5 of him like coming toward the camera. Woo. Highly recommend.
I need to find TikTok. That. I need to make that my ringtone or whatever. Like, if I could just have that going on my screen at all
screen,
times.
Like, always.
Screensaver. That's what I meant. Screensaver.
Screensaver. Just on a loop.
Yeah. Exactly. I loved it. It's totally Daebak. It is, as in the words of Hyuna, Gangnam style. It's aggressive. It has, deep rolling bass. Kind of reminds me of Timbaland bass.
I said that. I wanted Timbaland.
Yeah. Oh my God. Perfect. So that's what it is. It's decided.
Argue with Peter about the bass, please, because Peter thinks that the bass is grumbly, and he said that it sounds like what a headache feels like.
Oh no! So it is like grumbly or whatever. What you want to call it?
It's distorted.
Yeah,
the bass
for a reason. Timbaland doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, but okay. Here's the difference. Timbaland used percussion. This song had its own a different style of percussion that went alongside that bass, but Timbaland used the bass as a part of the percussion, and I think that made it more of a club rocker. I remember the Shock Value 1 and 2 when those albums came out, they were club must plays. You always had to play them. The big difference between that and this is if I played this song in exactly the same gigs and venues that I played the Shock Value albums, those same set of dancers would be like, WTF. They would look at, they're like, okay, what am I supposed to do with this? You can't dance to this unless you've got Taemin's choreography and that memorized. You can't.
Okay, so you're talking from the perspective of can someone instantly jump in and club dance to this? That's a very different question.
But also even listen and appreciate it. It's different.
I think that bass is the perfect foundation for all of the layers that go on top of it. That bass with the strings that go from one end of the beat to the other, and then with the ta-ta-ta-ta, the staccato as the third layer on top, and seeing how the layering builds from chorus to chorus as well. There's a lot of thought that went into that.
Oh, I don't deny that there's thought put into this, but...
And it's hitting me in just the right way. I stand in front of the TV, body rolling and rolling to the side, rolling to the left and the right. it is more than possible to move and get a workout with this track.
Okay, well, I hope the universe just shows me up, tells me all the reasons why I'm wrong. Like, I still remain to be convinced on the listenability, the danceability, and just overall mastering of the song. Like, I don't know. Maybe I was just in a bad place all the times I listened to it in this past week, but it's hard to get behind. I'm sorry. I still can't get behind it audibly.
So what we need is videos of people able to dance to this song sent to Peter immediately.
Okay. You know what? What would really say this? You asked this earlier in Angélica, but like, if it was just Taemin body rolling, Boa body rolling somewhere in there, and then just a bunch of other like random dancers like close up on their abs, like body rolling, like, okay, like, I can see it then. Like,
it's a recipe for success.
Speaking of rolls and abs and all of that, I wanted to call out a comparison I heard. I forget who said it. Maybe it was the FO Squad reaction guys. They compared the beat to EXO Obsession, and I hear some serious similarities there. The choreo could not be more different, though. So you have a similar kind of deep rolling bass and a little staccato element on top. And the moves are like all sharp, all like hitting the staccato all the time. There's very little rolling or gliding in EXO's video. They keep it very angular and sharp.
The big difference between EXO's Obsession and, again, this song is like Taemin's voice is lost in this song. In fact, it's not even in there at all for the chorus. Like, Obsession, like, they use autotune well in that instance, where it just slices right through that rumble and that reverb. So,
Peter, did you like Obsession?
Ask me again and like.
Are you gonna go rewatch it?
Well, I did not like Obsession. I loved Idea, but I was not a fan of Obsession. I liked the album. I really didn't like the song. So that's an interesting comparison that, like, when you bring it up, I can hear it right away. Like, yes, they are very similar, but I like Idea and I didn't like Obsession.
The last thing I'll say on the comparison, like what I was building up to with the choreography difference, is EXO missed out big time on all the body rolls, all of the like exposed rolling abs they could have had on screen with Kai's crop tops.
And Suho
and Suho as well with the fully open. Okay, anyways.
He just had a cut. He didn't even have a shirt on.
Yeah, right. no shirt at all. Like, the audience totally missed out. SM missed opportunity to have that kind of beat and not roll or glide at all. And Taemin more than made up for it.
Maybe it was because Love Shot was before that. Like, they used up all their body rolls in Love Shot.
Yeah, there were some big.
You only get a certain number of body rolls every month.
Is there a quota?
Use up our quota.
EXO would have run out years ago.
That's true.
Yeah, I guess, like, really what we're trying to say is, like, SM, you kind of put your money in the wrong places. We're simple people. All we really need it's just some like close up of some body rolls and like
in
just
crop tops. They got that right.
Tops.
They got the crop tops.
Yes, I do support the crop top.
Yeah, for whatever reason, like the rational like cognitive dissonance like in my mind is like, if they had that in this, like, okay, Daebak.
That's all you needed. All you needed was more abs.
Yeah. More rolls than I could get behind. I think that it just goes with the concept better, honestly. So.
Okay.
Agreed.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Angélica, for joining us, and Stephanie for coming.
So glad I made it.
Out.
Yes, glad you were able to make it back.
I was like, oh no, she's all alone.
Well, I'm glad you came back so that I was not the only one.
I'm sure you held it down.
I did my best.
No problem.
더 천천히 널